Hey guys, William here, and as I promised, this is my second video I'm putting up on my new channel. Now, if you hear a dog barking in the background, that's my little guy Brody here, so try to ignore that the best you can, but hopefully he won't cause too much of a problem. Now, in today's video, I wanted to do kind of an opinion piece on the Apple Watch and what I thought about it. It's been a long time expected, and the hype for it probably couldn't be any higher at this point. I've already today, what's today, the 10th of April I think, and I've already seen several people posting how they're putting in for their pre-orders and they're getting ready and they can't wait and they're expecting to see it sometime in June, and that's a really long delivery time. But what I wanted to talk about was the Apple Watch itself, what I thought that if it was usable, if it was actually worth going out and spending that amount of money on a device that really is supposed to be just a slimmed down replacement of another device that you're going to have in your back pocket anyways. Now I'm going to try and do a neutral video on here. I'm not going to try and go too hard on the watch, but I'm not going to praise it like some have either. So first thing I want to talk about the Apple Watch is the pricing scheme of the watch. The cheapest watch that I've been able to find, I believe, is around $399, and that's for the sports version of the watch, which in my opinion, I'm not really a flashy guy. That looked like the best deal to me, the most bang for your buck. When it came to the other watches, you're looking at, you know, plated gold, you're looking at stainless steel, you're looking at designer watches. So these things are going to run in excess of anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 depending on what you wanted to get. I'm sorry, but I just think that's a little pointless. If I was going to spend that amount of money on a watch, I'm going to go get a Rolex. I'm not going to play around and have a smartwatch. That being said, I think smartwatches and wearables in general are unique. I'm wearing one right now. I think they're cool and they're useful and they can change your life on a day-to-day basis. It's just that sticker shock, that price tag at the beginning of the sale. That's my hardest thing to get over. By no means am I hard for money, but I'm not going to go spend it needlessly when I can get the same kind of things done without having to spend that kind of cash on it. Now, for comparison, right now I'm wearing a Fitbit Surge Super Sports Fitness Tracker, if that whatever the moniker they're using right now for it. Now, this cost approximately $250 when I bought it. It's designed to be a watch that has a fitness theme to it, and it has a few smartwatch wearable technologies included, but they are extremely limited. So to jump from something like this that has a black and white screen, a constant LED monitor, as well as continuous heart rate tracking and step counting, to go from this to something that's a full-fledged smart device, which has more integration between your device and your cell phone and a whole lot more features, including a color display, to go from $250 to $399, I don't really feel that that's a huge jump. So going to a base model iWatch to me is justifiable, it's reasonable, it's not too outlandish, and I can see why some would do it. So now that pricing's out of the way, let's talk about battery life. On my Fitbit Surge, which I'm hesitant to keep trying to compare the iWatch to the Fitbit Surge because it truly is comparing apples and oranges. They are two different devices made for two very different purposes, but this is the closest thing I have in terms of having some sort of relativity between the two devices. So this device gets approximately 5 to 6 days battery life depending on usage. This does have integrated GPS, which cuts battery life by quite a bit, but I typically don't use the GPS functions often, maybe 2-3 times a month. I don't run on the street. I usually run on treadmills, which doesn't require to have GPS turned on to track your distance. There's a treadmill mode. So with that being said, I usually get about 5-6 days out of this. With a little bit more moderate usage, I sometimes will get 4. Besides that, I haven't seen any lower days than 4. So for the Apple Watch to get approximately 18, 19, at the most with light usage, 20 hours, that is abysmal, and if you ask me, nearly unusable. That is the biggest caveat that I have with this entire device, is the abysmal battery life. honestly, I find it to be a pain to have to charge this, you know, when I'm sleeping or when I'm showering every few days. But to have to take that watch off every 18 hours and throw it on a charger, to me is just plain unacceptable. Especially for something I'm paying $399 for, I just simply will not do it. Now, and I'm assuming that battery life on almost any smart device, mobile device, is corresponded to the amount of usage that you have for that device. So I typically, on any device I use, I'm a heavy user. Lots and lots of data, lots of connectivity, Bluetooth device, music streaming, whatever I'm using, I'm typically using it a lot. So my first feeling is that this Apple Watch isn't going to last even half a day for me. I'm going to get maybe 12 hours and it's going to be dead. Now, I'm a teacher. I barely get half a second to sit down during the day, so this would maybe last one work day for me, and then immediately upon leaving I would have to be charged in the car or when I get home, and to me that's unacceptable. Especially since I have, since 2013, December 2013, I've been on quite a bit of a health kick. At my heaviest weight, I was about 260 pounds. I'm now down to around 200 pounds. I like keeping track of my steps. I like keeping track of my heart rate. I like keeping track of my sleep, which all the Apple Watch, iWatch can do, but it can't do that if it's dead. And this, I typically get bummed out if this dies, which it did today because I wasn't paying attention, and it gave me a reminder and I ignored it. But if an Apple Watch or an iWatch is going to die before I get home, before I have a chance to charge it, then it's not counting steps that I'm doing in school that it may have died before I left. It's not counting my heart rate. It's not going to be doing my sleep tracking if I'm charging it while I'm sleeping, because I'm not going to waste that 12 hours of battery life while I'm trying to sleep. To me, for the health aspect, a one-day battery life is just plain unacceptable, and until a new iteration or new generation of Apple Watch comes out with a much improved lifespan on the battery, I just will not buy anything that has a battery like that. Okay, I spent way too much time on battery, but that was my biggest caveat with the device, so hopefully my other aspects of the watch won't take quite as long as that. When it comes to the design of the watch, in terms of its worthiness, I think A+ for Apple. You guys made a beautiful watch. It doesn't seem like it's too thick. I don't know if you're able to tell in the video, but my Fitbit Surge is a bit bulky, and it does have a funny design which causes it to lay uneven on your wrist. It's hard to get used to when you first get the watch, but it takes, once you get used to it, you're used to it. It doesn't bother you anymore. The Apple Watch, I don't even think you'll have that to deal with at the beginning, because it seems like it is a pretty flat design, pretty thin design for what it does. The crown, I think, was a beautiful use of technology for the iWatch. Using the crown to navigate through applications and software in the operating system of the watch was beautifully done. The different variety of straps, I think those are well done. I'm sure China is already pumping out third-party straps right now for the iWatch, but until those start flooding the market, I think people are going to have to pay a lot of money to get a variety of different straps. So getting away from the design and the battery life of the Apple Watch, I did want to talk a little bit about the limitations of the Apple Watch in terms of what will work with it. Now, obviously, in traditional Apple style, the only cell phone or smartphone that is going to work with your Apple Watch is obviously going to be an iPhone. So Apple has basically told a large chunk of the smartphone, smart device market share that, I'm sorry, you're not welcome here, please leave. Now, that is not new to Apple. They've been doing it for years. Honestly, I'm quite surprised they even allowed iTunes to be on PCs instead of being an Apple-only software. Now, while I'm not surprised by Apple deciding to make iWatch a Apple-only integrated device so you can only use it with other Apple products, I would have liked to have seen it being used with LG, Samsung, other manufacturers that come out with Android devices. I think if most Android-related devices have the ability to sync up with iPhones, I think it should go the other way. I see the market reason why Apple does not do that, and I see the branding reason why they will not do that but I still think it was a bit of a downside to buying the watch for us on the consumer level. So in terms of worthiness, you have to decide, is the Apple Watch going to be worth spending that $399 or much, much more if it's going to be something that you don't use on a daily basis. Now, when I first got my Fitbit Surge, first thing that I thought was, I'm not going to use this thing other than for workouts. I'll put it on for a workout. When I get home, I'll take it off. I quickly fell in love with it. Now I rarely ever take it off. In fact, I take it off so infrequently that it does cause irritation to my skin, and I have to take it off and then put lotion on my skin at least every few days. I do clean it with alcohol, but it still causes irritation because I just don't want to take it off. I think the Apple Watch is going to be the same way. Now I'm interested to see how the rubber of the sports band is going to affect people who work out a lot and get sweat between the band and their skin. It could cause irritation, but I'm interested to see how Apple dealt with this problem. Fitbit still has quite a bit of trouble with that. So in terms of integration and worthiness, oftentimes I found myself sitting inside of a meeting with either, because I'm a teacher, with parents, a principal, co-workers, or just someone from a district that I'm talking to, and you feel that phone in your back pocket vibrate, and your first instinct is to go for it and check it, because it could be something important. It could be an email from a parent who's got a problem. It could be an email from a client, from a coworker. It doesn't matter where you work. You've been in that situation, and it's usually considered a bit of a faux pas to pull your phone out and check it in front of other people. It's rude. No matter where you go, that's going to be rude. Some people don't care, but it's rude. So my biggest thing with getting this watch is that it does allow me to check text messages just like an iWatch would. So I can casually just stare at my watch, 2 clicks, and I can say, okay, this isn't anything important, I need to pick up milk on the way home. So the ability to be more covert with your use of your mobile device is definitely a big plus for the iWatch. The only problem, I think, is that the iWatch itself is going to draw attention. It's new, it's flashy, it looks nice, it's a beautiful device. People are going to see it, and they're also going to see you noticing your own device when you're trying to use it. So I don't know how covert it's going to be. Maybe once it becomes more of the norm and people see it more, it'll be easier to be less distracted by. But in theory, the idea of being able to check your watch instead of pulling out your phone is pretty attractive, especially to that person that's business-oriented or professionally oriented. Okay, we're getting down towards the end of the video now, and I've talked about design, I've talked about price, I've talked about integration with the professional and how it can allow you to be more covert when using it. The last thing I want to mention, because I am a teacher, so I have to throw this in, is how this might affect people in school. Now, teachers have constant issue with cell phone. Put your cell phone away. Please don't have your cell phone out. No, you can't charge your phone in my outlet. I'm sorry, you shouldn't have it. So I think having smart wearables is just going to make this problem oh so much worse. But with any new thing that's put into the classroom, teachers, we have to adapt, we have to change, we have to modify how we interpret things and how we deal with things. So I think instead of trying to be abrasive to the idea of the iWatch coming into the classroom, I think we should be accepting of it, because I think it could be used as a very positive tool for education, not only in the classroom, but for parents at home who want to use it in the development of their child's education. So, for instance, there are plenty of web-based tools for parents and teachers to help review and help quiz with their students. One that comes to mind is the game Kahoot. You can use Kahoot to create customized quizzes and answer games, and students can then answer back on their mobile devices. But if they have their watch, and Kahoot is able to make a third-party app for the iWatch eventually, students can easily answer the question on the watch. And I think this is really great. Maybe one day the Apple TV will allow you to throw the watch up on the screen, and we can use it as an educational tool to help our children and help our students be more of the discoverers of information rather than the teacher being the presenter of information. Hey guys, I know this video is lingering on, but it is something I'm very excited about. Now, final decision for me, is the Apple Watch worth it? I think yes and no. It depends. For me personally, not. As long as I have this, maybe when this dies out, I will go out and get the new Apple Watch. Definitely, I'm not a first generation device kind of guy. I'm always second or third iteration because that's usually when most of the quirks have been worked out. For me, that price tag and the sticker shock is just too much to deal with for the functionality that you get. And the battery life, honestly guys, it kills it. I couldn't do it, not for 18 hours of battery life, maybe 36, definitely 48. So in terms of it being worth it, I think I'm not going to go out and buy one. You might, and if you do, if you let me borrow one so I can make a review video, that'd be great. I doubt anyone would be willing to do that, but that would be cool. Quick before I go, please leave a comment, please subscribe, let people know from my past that I'm back. I'm sure they would love to come and see what I have to say. Let me know about the quality of my camera. I am using a new camera to film this right now. It's a Canon T3i with a 18mm lens. And it doesn't have an autofocus, so I'm kind of manually focusing it as I go. But thank you for watching. Leave a comment below, leave some questions, and I'll answer them in the next video. I appreciate it, guys. I'm William, and I'm out.